Believe Nation, happy Wednesday. Wednesday's, what, earphones are tangled up here. Wednesday's my project day. So I spend the whole day working on a project. It's nice not having a big responsibility for the day. And so, yeah, Tuesdays are pretty nuts making videos. And Thursdays are pretty crazy. Tomorrow's going to be all day podcast and interviews. And Wednesday is the day in the middle of the week, obviously, but that I get to focus on whatever I want to focus on. So, been working on my book, been working on my hiring, been working on my marketing, been working on a whole bunch of fun stuff. Taking a break to chat with you guys here. So we're going to bring them in, the next level guys, see how we can help. Happy Wednesday from Copenhagen. Love it. There they are, the next level guys. What's happening?
What's happening?
Good, man.
What's happening, man?
Happy Wednesday.
Okay. You as well?
Did you guys switch seats?
Bit, but I think it's better now. No, same seats. Same seats.
Really?
Just
Is it always the same seats?
Sharper dress.
Sharper dress? Maybe.
Yeah, I have on a sweater today.
What do you? I'm in Canada, dude. I'm even getting cold. Look, come on.
You're used to it. You're used
no
to it.
Complaining. Boston is anyway. Keep going. All right. What do we got? How can I help?
How you living? What's the coolest thing going on in your world? Real quick. Tiny bit of small talk. Tiny bit.
My new trampoline thing is awesome.
Hell yeah.
Jesus, double springs. If you're gonna be on a trampoline all day, the single springs won't cut it anymore. They're not designed to be on it 8 to 10 hours a day. So the double, you see each one is like each hook has the double spring on it.
Okay.
Yeah. That's.
Right. Is that for the lymphatic system? Keeping you energetic?
There's a lot of science behind it. I did it at the beginning just because I like standing up. Just in general, when I used to be on phone calls and stuff, I used to always stand up just for energy. And so then I had a stand-up desk. It started maybe 10 years ago with a stand-up desk, and then decided, you know what? I'm just going to try on a trampoline. So the goal is 20,000 bounces a day. I'm usually between 20 and 30,000 bounces every day.
Goodness.
But I've gone through like 3 trampolines in the past year.
Burn them out.
I'm burning them out, like they're getting warped in the middle because you're not, trampolines are not designed, at least most of them, to be on them 8 hours a day, 20, 30,000 bounces every day, right?
Makes sense.
So
Makes sense.
Anyway, this one is a more expensive one, double spring. So we'll see how it goes. So far, so good. I'm liking it, but it's taller than the other one, so I had to now raise my whole desk up as well.
Have you noticed a difference? Does it make a huge difference in your energy?
No.
No?
No, I mean, I can bring I'm sitting down right now. I got energy, you just bring it, but I prefer it, right? It just, naturally, this is me all day long, putting on music, bouncing until I have, a call or something. But yeah, I have some weird health philosophies. Anyway, jumping on a trampoline is one of them during the day.
Well, cool. Thank you for sharing that. So we got a bunch of questions over here for you.
As always. So
let's go.
Number one, from your perspective, how far down do we have to niche in order to get speeches? So people hire you to speak on YouTube, right? Like for us, does it have to be podcasting and business? Or it can't just be the next level guys, right? We have to niche to some sort of topic, right?
Not necessarily. Your short-term plan is podcasting, right? Like the short-term revenue driving, let's bring some business, grow this thing, scale the team, highly profitable, high income skill, whatever is going to be podcasting, right?
Yes.
Right.
And you could speak on that. And you could go to conferences and get invited on that. Although it's not, you just have to be in the right circles. You just got to you don't necessarily need to be the guy at the front of a podcasting conference. You just need to be known as the guy in the thought leadership circle to blow up a podcast. Just building up reputation. That's it.
Like Lewis.
What's that?
Like Lewis Howe spoke at Brendan Burchard's for podcasting.
Kind of, but influencer is not your target audience. Lewis Howe's is your target audience.
Right.
Okay.
So it's a difference, right? Like Lewis knows a crap ton about podcasting.
Right.
I need you to go in and tell him what he's doing wrong on podcasting.
Right.
right? Like that's the goal.
So we need to
go
be
in
the you.
What's that?
We need to be the you of. We have to be the you of podcasting, where you go in and say like, hey, anybody, for instance, like this is what your YouTube channel is kind of screwing up, and this is what you could do better for more impact.
Yeah, like I'll tell Lewis what to do on his YouTube channel.
Right. Okay.
Now, Lewis is now creme de la creme in podcasting, right? Like there aren't so many people ahead of Lewis, so you don't need to necessarily get to that level, but close to it, right? So your target audience, if you can actually go in and help Lewis in a meaningful way, you're golden, right? Like you're now in the top 1% of the 1%.
Right.
Your real market right now for where you're at is the people who want to be like Lewis. The people who haven't been doing, I don't know how long Lewis has had his show. It's been a while, right? It hasn't just been a minute of him being on, right?
9 years, 10 years.
So the people who look to Lewis and say, I want to do that, but are serious people, have a business already. They don't want to be an influencer. That's not their full-time thing. They have a business.
Right.
So like a David Meltzer, like the David Meltzer is your target audience. The people who have a business. David's got a million things going on, right? We just invested in the same company, Queens. He brought me into one of his deals, an esports company that just launched yesterday. And so David's investing in companies. David's running his own businesses. David's mentoring and inspiring entrepreneurs. David has a YouTube channel. David's got a podcast. David's got tons of stuff going on right now, right? He's not an influencer in that, like, that's his business.
Right.
If you can come in now, he wants to influence. He wants to he wants to have 1,000 people inspire 1,000 people or something like that.
Empower 1,000 people, yes.
So if you can help him get closer to his goal, awesome. But those are the caliber people that I want you getting good enough to work with.
Okay. Now, in the prospecting game early where we are, how much of our day should be spent prospecting, just direct messaging, getting in the right rooms with those types of people?
Well, your day, nothing. You're building the brand.
Right. Okay.
His day, everything.
Okay. Gotcha.
Apart from your podcast and your meetings or whatever you need to do, like this is how you split it up because you're building Next Level University. He's building the funding mechanism to help you get there.
Right.
So you could be speaking at podcasting events. I don't think you need to. And I think most of the audience is not going to hire you. So influencer is the wrong market. You don't want to sell something to somebody for $100 a month consulting services or something, right? I mean, you want the people who are taking it seriously, who will drop 3 to 5K on you every month to help them blow up, who want to be the next Lewis Howes of podcasting. On your side, you're building Next Level University. The speaking will be from people who you don't need to have a niche so much. Like you've got your 4 categories. You'll be brought in from people who love your show, who connect with the message, who are in your community and say, you need to get this guy on your stage or these guys on your stage.
Right.
So it's more about building the audience and building the brand. But you're a long way away from getting the big gigs, right?
Right.
From little ones, sure. I mean, start right away, and the little ones lead to the bigger ones. The podcasting side's a lot closer and gets you revenue.
Yeah. Okay. So we spoke at Mass Maritime in front of 250 students, and we got a ton of new listeners, a ton of new community members. Like that's what I should be focused on is getting more of those, like virtual speaking events. We spoke on leadership, which is
it's whatever. It's like every conference has their own theme.
Right.
If it was talking about leadership, great. You're going to share your perspective. If it's talking about social media, you can share your perspective. If it's talking about mentorship, like whatever the topics are that fall within your 4 circles, you have opinions on, and you're not being brought in to talk about lawn mowing, right?
Right.
And maybe you are an expert lawnmower. I don't know,
I hope
but so there's something, even fitness, right? If it's about fitness, and it might be leadership inside fitness, you can talk about that, right? Okay. So you'll be asked to talk about a multitude of things based off of what the person who's bringing you in wants to hear. Okay. What's the theme of their show?
Do you have people on your, sorry to interrupt, do you have people on your team who are reaching out to get you speeches, or are you just building your brand even bigger, focusing there, and then letting speeches come to you? Or is it a combination of both?
Both. So I have an agent in New York who's working on deals and getting me into places. And a lot of it is just me building my brand and then blowing their socks off, right? Like, this should be your goal. So listen, I was speaking at Grant Cardone's 10X something. I forget what it was, like last month. Not his big thing in February, right? Like his big events in February. It's a 10X boot camp or something. So I'm speaking at that event. What am I talking about? He asked me to talk about YouTube success. I said, great, I'll come in and talk about YouTube. I come in, it's a live event, blowing everybody away, tons of value, amazing. Grant comes in at the end of it and says, the chat's blowing up. I want you to come back today at 5. Like, can you come back this afternoon and do a round 2? Like the day of, right? Of all the speakers, I was the only one asked to come back. And he had some pretty big speakers, on that. So that's your goal, right? And then at the end of that, he's like, how do we get you at my big 10X event in February? So your goal is to come in, blow so much value at them that then they want to have you come back. They want to bring you for the next thing. People watching want to hire you to come and help them with their thing or speak at their event. Like speaking leads to more speaking. So, the students one that you did, awesome. 250 students learn about you. The teacher or whoever organized the event learned about you. Now you're on their radar and Rolodex. You want to be invited back. Like, you need to be invited back for their annual event. You need to be the best speaker that they've ever had come through their organization so that they are falling over themselves to want to have you come back, to pay you next time, to spread the word about you to their colleagues about how great you are. And for the students, you never know in that 250 who might be helping organize another event at another organization, or who works on some team or gets an internship at Bank of America, and then they're planning their event. Say, oh my God, who you need to bring in? These 2 guys, the next level guys, they spoke at this thing, right? A lot of that's how it leads to it. But that's a long-term commitment, a long-term path, right? That doesn't get you paid anything meaningful. It's not that you won't get paid, but it's not going to be anything substantial, in the next 12 to 24 months, which is fine. Like, you're building a brand. That's part of it.
Evan, do you think, and this is something that we haven't seen a lot in industry, but Alan and I this year have done 32 live masterminds, and we prepare it as a keynote every week. Do you think there's any extra value to Alan and I speaking at the same time on the same stage? Because you don't really see that often. And I think we're better together than we are apart.
Yeah, you could. Ultimately, it's about the value to the audience. So it's a different dynamic. I think if I'm you right now, what a lot of people are struggling with, what I'm actually winning super hard right now is not just giving a keynote, but interacting with the audience. The reason why the Grant Cardone thing popped, the 10X thing that I did versus and it wasn't that the other speakers were bad, but I was talking and working with the audience. So when they're leaving comments, I'm directly giving feedback and bouncing. I love the jam sessions. Like, this is a jam session. I don't know what we're talking about, right? You guys bring questions and we jam.
Right.
A lot of the professional speakers are having a hard time doing Zoom calls with no audience, and they had their set speech.
Right.
Versus if you can actually connect to the people who are leaving comments in the chat and bounce with them. Right. And I think you guys can do that. I think you guys have the skill set, capability, and then even the bouncing off each other. Like, no, Alan, that's stupid, man. It's got to be like this and whatever. You dive into it. I wouldn't worry so much about a prepared keynote. I would come in with talking points or just what the main theme is going to be. And then something that you guys maybe don't both just automatically agree on, right? Something that
interesting.
You have slightly different perspectives on, right? You talking from a different way, and then that's the intro that sets you up, and then pay attention to the comments, and then bounce with them and see where people are taking you if it's a live event. And there's so many live events happening right now. There's so many summits, and it's just bonkers. It's crazy right now.
Right.
that could be a chance for you guys to win, because you're going to create in my opinion, better experience for the audience than just talking direct to camera with a prepared speech.
Okay. Fire. Where did you learn how to speak? Is it just reps, or do you go to a specific resource? Did you have a specific mentor? Like, how did you master your craft and get better at being in front of the camera and on stage beyond just actually putting in the reps?
So modeling success always is great. Like, look at the speakers who you love and look up to and think are the greatest, and see what they do. If you're trying to do live stuff, Grant is actually a great one to model. Grant is probably, he's top 3. I'm just thinking who else would be. I was saying he's number 1, but like the top 3 for sure of bouncing with the audience, of playing with them, of not just sticking to the script. Right. He's entertaining. You know, somebody will say in the chat, even if it's off topic, somebody will say, "Hey, Grant, you've been working out," and he'll say, "Is my jaw, extra square today?" And he'll like play it up. It's fun, right? He does a lot of that. And so a lot of people get rattled by that. They can't handle the off the cuff, the playing with the audience.
Right.
So he's really great at that. Gary is really great at coaching, live coaching with people. So he'll bring people in and then he'll help them get a result and make it valuable to everybody watching. But there aren't a ton of people who are fantastic at it, because people don't have the reps. They haven't been putting it in. So one, definitely modeling success and seeing who's doing it and paying attention to their live streams. 2, definitely put in the practice and seeing the vibe that fits for you.
Yeah.
It won't work exactly like it works for Grant. You're going to have to find your own cadence.
Right.
And what often ends up happening, so my agent would give me examples. He'd say, "Hey, do this like whoever." And it would never work. Like, the way he gave it to me would never work. But in that attempt, I would discover and unlock something new that I hadn't discovered before. Because I'm like, you could do it and try to be Grant, and the best case if you practice would be Grant Jr. But you don't want to be a Elvis impersonator your whole life, right? I mean, that's a business. But your goal is to try that and feel awkward and clumsy in the process, but then discover something new that you haven't done before.
Right.
So
is this why at your role within Live you wanted to do a fireside chat? Is because you were practicing the Q&A and you think it's more engaging?
I just love it more. I love it more. It's the most fun for me. It's the most fun for me. So I was playing with it back then. I done a couple of them. Most stage work, the industry is keynotes. That's the industry. I've been slowly transitioning my stage work. Now it's all in. Like, now it's super great for me because everything is Zoom and there's always a live chat that you can see. So it's amazing. But I was transitioning my stage work to set up context, to like, why am I here? What am I talking about? What's the theme of what I'm an expert at? Because not everybody will know you in the audience. But to then have that create the permission to do Q&A with the audience. Because I want to just bring as much value to the people who are there, more than me just saying what I want to talk about. Because it's like when people ask me, well, what question do you want people to ask you that they, like, what do you want to talk about? It's like, I don't care. What question do you have? That's what I want to talk about. I want to talk about what you want to talk about.
Where do you see the speaking profession? Like, obviously a lot is going to be virtual now, right? Like, if you could give advice to speakers to really reach their potential and be different than everybody else, other than that, because I think that's something that we are trying to do and trying to model well. What other advice would you give?
Well, I think we're going to go back to having events and speaking. It's just how long, who knows, right? I think you have a window now in the next 12 months to really hone in on the virtual and being able to have a message and talk to the live chat. Just people aren't used to it. So you guys could crush that. I think there could be something to the two of you doing something on stage. I think to make it work, though, you have to have slightly different views or slightly different takes, as opposed to just saying, yeah, I agree on this, and yeah, I agree on this. It's why watch two people What's that?
Yeah, we do. So in our weekly lives every Monday, we get questions in the chat live, and Amy actually reads them, and they get repurposed as podcast episodes. Kevin and I pitch and catch very well, and it might not be a hardcore disagreement, but it's like, don't forget about this perspective. And it's been a pretty cool dynamic that a lot of people are enjoying. So if we're trying to make a name for ourselves in the speaker arena, I guess one of the things that I wanted to ask you, Evan, too, is where do you think our gap in skill sets is? In awareness of business, like where are we, from your perspective, you've coached us, for probably 2 or 3 months now. What do you think is our biggest bottleneck in terms of our mentality, our skill set, our business mind?
Well, just backing up I would save some of those questions that sparked off a kind of debate between you, and not hardcore debate like you're wrong and you punch each other out, although that's great content. But there's going to be some that are like, hey guys, is working out important? And you're going to both agree, and then it's not going to be much of a discussion, right? So those ones that, if Amy's pulling them apart, like what are the ones that spark an interesting discussion where you're not 100% aligned, where you can respect each other, obviously, with the opinion, but you're going to come from a different perspective and not just pitching and catch each time, because that can be a little boring. So like some of those topics, you might bring some of them. Amy may already know 8 of them already that are done well. You might, and those could all be potential stage topics or speaking good topics for you as well. In terms of gaps, I haven't seen your stuff, to be honest. Like I haven't seen enough of what you do. I haven't seen you bounce with the audience. I haven't seen you coach somebody. So I don't know. I mean, I'd have to see it to say, here's where, you guys need some improvement. I think mindset wise, like the podcast thing needs to be pushed just so much harder right now. I think you have to get better at it. I think you have to figure out 2 episodes ago or whatever it was where we laid out the things that you have to do, including monetization. How do you monetize a podcast so it's not a cost center, but it's at least break even, if not a revenue center for you, right? To be kick-ass at it. I don't know how far away you are from guys like Dave Meltzer hiring you to do it because they want to be Lewis Howes in terms of numbers and exposure and opportunities.
Right.
And we're just not pushing hard enough on it.
Okay. You coach a lot of early entrepreneurs. Is there anything that jumps off the page for either of us that, and you can be completely honest, I know you will be, whenever I'm coaching someone in fitness, Evan, it's like very clear to me, because I've done it so long and I think I spent so much time in that arena, that it's like, oh, okay, that person, that mentality they have is only going to get them to this level. Do we have one of those that jumps off the page of like, these dudes are not going to make it if they don't adjust this thing or get rid of this limiting belief?
I think you're going to make it. It's just how fast you want to get there. Like it's the urgency. Where's the urgency? Where's the urgency that this matters? Because everybody, you want to hit the next level, great, but when? Everybody's going to look to you guys and say, look at what they're doing. They're so ambitious. They've got all this talent. They're pushing hard. They got the dedication and perseverance, and you're doing it. How many episodes on the podcast? Meanwhile, it's like, there's no urgency. There's not enough. Not to get there, right? Like, I love you guys, and like, let's go. If it's important, you have to have urgency. We're hiring somebody new, right? I mean, I need to hire like 8 new people on my team, but we're in the process of hiring somebody, and my wife was doing the hiring. There was somebody that she really liked, and we got the information. We passed it on to somebody else on my team, and it's been 5 days since we've had a connection back to the person that we were looking to hire. Now, weekend, whatever, but still, it's like, I saw 5 days and I had a heart attack.
Right.
Like 5 days, 5 days. If you're working with me on something that I'm working on and care about, it better be like immediately happening and getting immediate momentum, or like I'm not sleeping. And so there's this group of there's the things that we know how to do, and that I'm like light touching and like get it done by this day, fine. But if you're working on something with me and I'm working on it, like it's the most important thing, momentum has to happen, and just urgency.
Right.
So we talked about the podcasting from episode 1, that you guys have to be like, here's the model, or maybe episode 2, I don't remember, of doing this, but it's been a while. Where's the model to create the podcast, to go to David Meltzer and his kind of people and get those clients? I want you to have 10 clients paying you $5K a month, build this business up so that can build the brand.
Right.
How?
We have 8 clients right now for Next Level Podcast Solutions. They're not at that price point though, but they are 700 and up.
Yeah, but 700 is nothing, right? I mean, not for what you guys can do. It's not nothing. It's great. It supports you. Amazing. I want you at 3.5 to 5K a month, which may be different clients. Like, it's increasing the level of, like, the guys paying you 700 probably would freak out if you said 2,000.
Right.
They just can't afford it. They're not the level yet that you need to be applying your strategies to. Like, I need you to work with the Dave Meltzer kind of people, and there's lots of those guys. There's way more the people who will pay you $300 to $700 a month. I don't want you doing that's almost charity work. Like, it's great, you can give back, pick a few that you love, but I need you playing in the 3.5 to 5K range.
Got it.
I need you to get the skill set to be there,
right?
Which isn't there yet, but you can get there. And the mindset that this is what we're doing, this is who we're going after, that we are kick-ass at this thing, and I believe you can get there. I don't know if you believe yet that you can get there, and there's definitely not enough urgency chasing that down.
Got it.
Consider it done.
That gives you the funds to do everything. That gives you the funds to go and do everything. Like, it's a bridge. It's not, in 10 years, you're not going to be the podcasting guys. In 10 years, it's all about next level you.
Right.
But you've built the team and the bridge and the reputation to, like, get you there.
Fire. My goodness.
100%.
All right, we want to let you go. We're on, I think we're 2 minutes over. Evan, we appreciate you so much.
Urgency. Urgency.
It's happening.
Your house is burning down. Put out the fire.
You're going to see us
All
both
right.
on trampolines next time. Just like
I love you guys. Make it happen. Okay,
Love you too,
ciao.
brother. Thank you. Talk soon, Evan.